afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'd just like you to feel reassured that you're in safe hands here. It's our job to remind you that co-working businesses are not all about the building, the coffee, the Wi-Fi, the sales pipeline, the customer touch points, or, I don't know, what plants you've got in. It's actually all about people. People. Come on in, come on in. Welcome. So yeah, this session today, my name's Claire Carpenter. Many of you I've met before. We're going to be looking at why community building is such an important thing. What are we all doing it for? They're not customers, they're not punters, they're people. People. And people are the most valuable asset to our business. I'm just going to wait for some more people to come in. Come and have a seat. So, we've got 4 wonderful speakers here. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I need my glasses. This is what happens. A few months ago, I started turning into one of those old people that needed glasses, but I can't remember to put them in my bag yet. So, we've got Cecilia, we've got Nicolai, Robert, and Maria. So some fantastic speakers. And we're going to be looking, as I said, at the role of the community manager. That wonderful person who magically does everything that makes our business stick together or fall apart when they decide to leave and become a drummer or whatever else they choose to do. So I would love to know here in the room, who here considers themselves, raise your hand, who here considers themselves a community manager? Okay, come on in. I'd say that's about 50%, wouldn't you? 50% of the room. What are the others of you doing? I don't know. Are you on finance? You're in the wrong room. Okay, so 50% of the people here are community managers. Of those 50%, I don't know, I'm distracted now. There's people. Come on in. Hi. Welcome. Of the organisations that are represented in the room, put your hand up if you employ one particular person, just one particular person per hub, let's say, to do community management. Okay. And of the others that didn't put their hand up, do you consider it to be, put your hand up if you think it's everybody's job to do community management? Okay. Well, I still think there's a good number of people here that think community is an important thing in a co-working hub. That's good, because we're not in a flex workspace conference, we're in a co-working conference. So, let's get to some panel questions, shall we? I'm just curious, let's start. A sense of community and a sense of belonging. A sense of belonging is what makes people feel attached and rooted in community. What is it that you do that would create a sense of belonging? And we've got 2 mics. I'm going to keep one of them for me. What is it that you can fundamentally do in a physical space to create a sense of belonging? Who wants to take? So, we'll go straight in for the gold question.
I guess in our case, so I'm from Beta Haus Hamburg. We have been opening our doors 13 years ago, so we have been existing quite a long time. And I guess that's one of many things you need to do, but as one thing is the continuity and the reliability of that you're this institution that people thought you were going to be. We do that, for example, through very regular events that we were doing every single week, regardless of number of attendees, vacation periods. So the only season where we interrupted it was during the COVID crisis. But we're trying to have a regularity and a continuity in all the services that we're offering, in the faces, in the staff, and trying to be always the same place that people used to before.
So consistency and reliability.
That's the word I was looking for.
Consistency and reliability creates a sense of belonging. Yeah? Okay. Who else has got a nugget?
Hi, I'm Cecilia. I'm from the north of Sweden, in Umeå. I think that everybody in the rooms know that we do a lot of things. I mean, it's the events, it's the people, but what I always come back to is the people, and to make sure to invite them, not, on pen and paper or in an email. It's about the conversations, about it, you know, it's how you stand, it's how you look at people, it's how you talk to them. So I mean, invitation, it's how we're sitting now, that we're not facing each other, that we're facing the audience. And I think that's important in all the small gestures, and also with the events, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that we are using a method that is called asset-based community development in many of the projects that we are involved in. And the core of that is basically to ask people, what do you care enough about to engage upon? That's different for every person. And to also, the conversations that you have, those are the important ones. To be mindful of the person that you have in front of you, not that I need to come in with my agenda into a conversation and try to get them somewhere else, like to an event or such, but really to figure out what kind of person do I have in front of me, and that the conversation you have are the important ones.
Hey, yeah, so generally I agree with what you say. I do believe that events is basically a tool that you solve a certain problem. And for me personally, it's really about problem solving. So breaking the ice, solving a problem for one person makes them more likely to come and share a lot more things that you can solve as a group. So it's basically building those relationships through different conversations and then finding the right tool to solve different problems.
Thank you. I'm curious to know, what is it that you think that people are looking for when they're coming to a co-working hub? We know that they want the Wi-Fi and the coffee, but what is it fundamentally about a co-working hub as opposed to other places that they could go that relates to people? What is it that's the attraction? Anyone want to summarize their experience?
Shall I be the first one to take it? Okay, so we have a vertical that we focus on. And that's technology sector, so basically tech companies, for various reasons, which I'm not going to go into the details of. But in my view, it's basically everybody's talking, especially if you're scaling, how you need the right VC if you want to go down that road and not bootstrap your company. But for me, equally as important is the environment, so the people that you're going to be on a regular basis with. And when we first started, we were actually really, really stringent about who we allow in our space, which I think was very important. And afterwards, it really paid dividends because you start having like-minded people who are open, transparent, and want to help each other. So yeah, I think that's what we're working towards, and I think that's why we're attracting people, because they know the environment that they're going to end up in.
So I just want to repeat that you were selective in who you chose as your starter community, like a culture in bread, you know, your starter dough. Yeah,
so in essence, yes. We also had huge technology companies that were applying, and like blue chip, NASDAQ listed companies that in essence would bring in a lot of the economics of it, would make the mathematics works. But basically we turned down some of them because and I still believe that they would have been detrimental to the community.
Okay, I'm going to just go deeper dive here. I'll come back to the question with you. How did you assess whether their value set fitted yours? What did you do?
So basically we would have, you can call it interviews, that we would have with folks that want to join in. And the first question that we would ask them after all the entry stuff would be, what do you think you would bring to this community, and how do you think you can help with your own experience and the expertise that you have within the team? How would you contribute to the community? So that was a really important question. Down the road, we tried to wiggle a little bit more with it, because people naturally were like, I'm on an exam or something, and how am I going to answer? Is that right or wrong? There is no right or wrong answer. You just want to feel how the people think about it. And the next one would be, what do you think you would get most out of here? If the answer to the second question was something like, I don't know, I would get one vendor who would solve all the issues that I have related to the facility, then it's a red flag and you know that those people would not be engaged. And that's fair enough. But then again, for us, that's not the most important thing, and we basically want to foster a community that builds bridges between one another and actually helps each other, because that's how you multiply the effect.
Thank you.
Yep.
So just to repeat the question, the starter question was, what is it that is driving people to come to a co-working hub, to look for a sense of belonging? What do you feel from your experience is driving their need for belonging, and how do you go about creating that?
Yeah, so we are located in the middle of Sweden and just beside the mountains. So people move to Östersund, where we have our places, for lifestyle. And it's hard to get to know new friends when you get up and get older. It's easier when you're younger. So people come to us to get new friends. Basically, they're new best friends, but also to get into the business contact network, etc. But mostly to get new friends. And we also have one question that we ask everyone in the community or joining the community, and that is basically, are you in any kind of development personally or with your business or within your work? And if they say yes, and they need to decide that for themselves, we don't close any doors to anyone, but they need to feel that they belong in that community.
What sort of developments might they be in? Can you explain a bit more? The process of development.
Well, in personal development, I want to meet new friends. I want to find new work possibilities, or I want to develop as an individual, or I am looking for a career step or joining a new company or whatever.
And do you find that those people that are in that stage are the perfect type of customer for you?
Yes, they are. Okay. And we have multiple different industries. So we have a very big mix of people and companies as well.
So when the individual's in a growth mindset, growth stage.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay, thank you. So why are people looking for belonging, and how do you deliver it?
First part of the question, I guess it's similar to your case, although we are in a big city, so people have friends there and have a lot of places to choose from, but most of our community members come to find maybe not friends, but co-workers in the best sense, people that they can chit-chat with, that they can go to lunch with, that they can have rumors about, but also, of course, to establish and build private relationships. Of course, there's also networking interest and business interest, but primarily it's the social part. And we as an organization, we always decided against put an introductory question, because we started small and we're growing constantly, steadily over the past years, and we never had a real issue that our community was changing in a way that we didn't like it. So we also wanted it to develop a little bit in terms of like their open-mindedness, their interest in certain topics. But of course we monitor it. We try not to invite corporates to our space as co-working members. So people that come there as a business and not as private individuals that do businesses within the space. That's something that we do. And of course, you sense, so for example, we have been increasing Google marketing significantly after the COVID crisis, and it was the first time that we had incoming leads that weren't coming as word of mouth referrals, friends of friends, and all of a sudden we had people that we didn't understand right away, and that was something we realized. And then really started to have a discussion with them, especially when there were larger groups of people, 4 people, 6 people, 8 people. We really tried to figure out in the conversation if they would fit the space, and if they would not, then we would just tell them that we would be occupied, and then choose other ones over them.
So you saw a new target audience come in after COVID? New type of audience come in after COVID?
No, not because of COVID, but because we needed to invest into more professional marketing than we did before. So we've always been living good with word of mouth referrals and just people knowing our space. And this changed a little bit during COVID. And then we invested into professional marketing, which of course caught a broader audience that didn't necessarily come to our space because they knew who we were, but we're just whatever, for the price tag, for the location, stuff like that. And this had a change in the lead structure.
Thank you.
I don't know if this answers the question, but I'll say it anyway.
Check it out.
I keep thinking that we're in co-working. We're a part of a movement. I mean, we're in such a big change. How we look at work and life and how we do it. And to be a part of a co-working space is to be a part of a movement. And this is different for everyone, how they want to do it. But what it comes down to is, for me, is how I look at it. And what I think we all try to do is listen to the people who come in, and they're going to give little hints of what they need to have a sense of belonging. Because you were saying it as well, like the developments, there's certain things that people that work for companies or have multiple clients that they need. And if we listen when we meet them, then we can create and facilitate an environment where hopefully everyone feels that there's a place for them, to grow, to develop, or just have a better day.
A cup of tea. Somebody making you a cup of tea.
And coffee.
And coffee.
Don't forget
the coffee. Not before 2, after 2. Well, let's just keep going on that theme. What are the simple things that you encourage your clients, the members of the community, to do? Not the staff, not the community manager, but what are the simple things that you do to help culturally create a sense of belonging and community from within the community? For instance, in our space, we always encourage people, offer to make someone a cup of tea. When you go and make a cup of tea or coffee, offer to make someone else or make a friend. It's really simple. It's not hard. To build connections. What do you do to help build connections and community?
It's the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. The dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
It's the dishwasher. It all happens in the kitchen. And if we can get everyone to see it as a responsibility to take their coffee cups where they're supposed to be, and, it's a thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe not the professional answer, but...
No, it's totally professional. We've all got to empty the dishwasher. There's other things we could be doing with our time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Of course, you want to have people interacting with each other and engaging for the community, but of course, you also want to be the Dali that's always pushing people, hey, come on, do something for the community. And we made this experience, a lot of people are very interested in what's happening in the community, but staying rather passive and just watching what is happening. Mm-hmm. So we are really trying it through our community manager, and so I would also consider everybody is working for the space as a community manager, but of course we have one dedicated person that does the magic, Tirke. We are trying to just bring the people to connect them to other people, to motivate them to have a cup of coffee with another person, to participate in the community events, of course, but really through a lot of interacting from ourselves by talking to them.
Yeah, so during the onboarding, we try to formulate that, well, this is a place which we build together, and people manifest that in different ways. So we have one member who did a compliment machine, and we have another one who carves bowls and put on the tables. And there are so many ways that you can contribute with your own skill set or knowledge base. So we try to kind of emphasize those things so that people feel that it's their place and they can do what they feel with it. And it ends up being a big mix of everything. But then we also do invitations when we try to develop new things. We always invite the community to be part of the development, to ideate around the new specific thing that we want to do together.
I would like to learn a little bit more about how you make them go to the dishwasher and do it themselves. Jokes aside, I can tell you lots of stuff that we have tried doing, but the truth is none of them work as well as expected. And I can tell you the thing that really works for us. A disclaimer, we're quite large. We have over 1,500 members active. So it's really a different challenge to manage that. But the thing that really works the most is actually a Slack channel, which is called memes. So people would share ridiculous memes within it. And when they start liking each other, that's how they started interacting. And the good thing is that after that, they start learning a little bit more about one another, get to know each other on a personal level. They're from different companies, so that's how it kickstarts it. And what we're trying to do now is learn a little bit more about why they're getting together, what are their common interests, so that they can actually start building micro communities within the larger community. Because that's the social part of it. I personally don't believe that, well, personally, I'm no Steve Jobs. I don't know what people want 5 years before they want it. So let's just listen to what they want and look for ways how to support them.
Thank you. I'm going to go round again because, and I know that you guys in the room will also have your own ideas, but I know that we've got loads more nuggets. So I'd like 3 ideas per person, not the whole chat, but like just 3 ideas. What do you do to build community? What other things you do? So I've got one. We invite members to host going to the pub one night a month, and an individual from the member, a member from the community becomes the host for a month, and they organise it, they deliver it, etc. So it's just one idea. More ideas.
Breakfast. I've tried so many different things, and I come back to breakfast. That's one of the most important things that I do, and not as expensive, so that's good. I would love to eat 3, but it's like, for some people, it's hockey because of where we live. And we went on a skiing trip. That's not something that you can put in your every week schedule, but to find those little nuggets that suits, dig where you stand. Who are your members? What are their interests? And then do that. But definitely do breakfast.
Breakfast. Since 13 years, we are hosting a weekly breakfast event, open for internal and external members. Breakfast. It's the shit thing. It's really perfect. Identifying key members in your community, so multipliers, so people that are very proactive, approaching other people. So give them what they need, convince them to host an event, give them a discount in your membership for them to interact with other members. And what else? Listen to your community. So we are trying to adapt infrastructure according to the needs of the people, building new phone booths, changing voice levels, installing new music systems, changing the music, stuff like that.
Yeah, so we don't have a reception. You come straight into the kitchen, and that's where we always sit and work, because people are going to the coffee machine, and then you can talk with them when they take their coffee. So you get to interact with everyone during a day. And the other thing might be leave room for people to develop things themselves. So we, for instance, had a music group. People don't play music when they get older if they're not professionals, but people want to play music together. So we started a music group, but then we kind of left, and it went to have a life of its own, and it's super fascinated. There are like 10, 15 people joining in every week and just playing it together.
Nice. Any more?
I actually forgot what I was thinking.
It'll come back.
No, I was thinking about this one, about the music group, because that is something that we're currently noticing. And the only feedback that we get is we need this, we need that. We're right now looking for a very specific cabinet to store instruments and stuff, so it's interesting. But yeah, I would go with the easiest one, cocktails.
And then straight into the dishwasher. Yeah. Lovely. Okay.
I have a third. Can
Yeah,
I
go
just
on.
put it in? Yeah.
Go.
We don't have any rules.
Oh.
No.
Tell us more about no rules. No rules at all, except for the dishwasher.
No, except we don't have the rules for the dishwasher either. We work with positive reinforcement. So when we do our onboarding, we tell people how good the other members are on like putting out the dishes from the dishwasher. Like you should also do that. But, so no rules.
Good parenting.
I actually thought about what I was going to say. Just a second, write it down. Yeah, but yeah, what I started doing recently is basically be around. So lots of the times I'm in front of the monitor or on the phone or something like that. And I started putting slots in my calendar where I wouldn't be in the office, I wouldn't take any calls, and just go around, try to be as invisible as possible, and just look for what people are struggling with. And yeah, it's a nice thing because you see some things that are not struggle for you, but are struggle for other people. You solve them, and the devil is in the details. So people don't complain about it. They wouldn't even notice it, but they would just know that it's easy, frictionless. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to go off-piste, because that's the type of person I am. Don't get, oh, you've got one more. Go.
I have a thing that I want to share that worked really well, too, because you asked about the dishwasher and how. You know what I do? I got recommended to do this, so it was my original idea. You know the emails that you send out with all the important things that you want to say? I started hiding in the letter that I wrote, where I hide the cookies. So that means I know exactly who reads my emails, and I know that they've been reading everything. And you have to hide it in a different place, you know, both in the text and you can't have the same cookie cabinet. And sometimes it's ice cream, but this works really, really well.
The element of surprise. So my element of surprise, I'm going to ask you a different question that wasn't on my list. But my brain's going in different directions. I've got two trains of thought going on. One is about COVID and what's happened to people in the last few years, how it's changed, how people feel in connection with other people or lack of connection. And I'm wondering if anyone's got any reflections on how the last few years of COVID and lockdowns have changed, anything specifically that's changed in how people interact and form a sense of connection and belonging. Yeah?
Okay, so we're based out of Bulgaria, Eastern Europe. So the prejudice or the stereotype is that people don't follow rules. For Eastern Europeans, kind of true. Especially when you're in your own country. So when COVID hit, we did quite a huge investment in basically, we had UVC alarms that can run while you're still in the place, and they're sanitizing the air and purifiers and what else. But yeah, people don't really use them that much. So I think in terms of interactions, I think we're back to normal, to be honest. At least on social level. Business level, people are working from lots and lots of different spaces. So we started seeing the need. So we had what we call meeting rooms and conference rooms. So a conference room would be audio, video conferencing equipment, etc., etc. So people were asking a lot about this, and we're now just rolling out. We just rolled it out this week, actually, that each and every single meeting room is equipped with video conferencing equipment. That is quite interesting because it follows you, whoever is talking, points the camera, etc., etc. So it makes it feel a little bit more like you're with the person that you're talking to, because, you know, body language is quite a lot. And so that's probably the one thing that we have noticed, but otherwise on social level, I think we're back to normal, to be honest.
Back to normal?
Yeah. At least with us.
Okay. Anybody else notice any significant changes in how the community interacted, or any legacy of that changes?
Well, COVID was actually good for us. We didn't lose any members, but people were moving from the big cities to their dreams of their lifestyle, to go skiing more often, etc. So we gained a lot of newcomers. So the need to interact with other people that are new has been much more since COVID. So more interactions and more activities overall.
Two things I would like to mention in our case. So we have, so we're also back to normal, I would say, after the pandemic. But our social events are less in terms of numbers. So we have less events because the demand is lower. Same size of the community, same kind of people, but the the intensivity of the events, the exchanging, is much higher. So it's more intense. There's more interaction. The people appreciate more the being together kind of thing. That's what we feel. And the other thing is, we as a co-working business have been the avant-garde of digital work, for a very long time. And since COVID, of course, this has come to a much broader audience. And there are more and more people in our neighborhood that have not been looking for workspaces other than their corporate workspace environment or their home office. And it starts to change now because a lot of people are staying in their home offices and then feeling this social isolation, being more lonely, and looking for other communities other than their corporate environment that they used to be in before. So they don't want to commute anymore, so that's fine for them. So they're happy that they have this flexibility. So we see new people that are new to this business of work communities where they can gather. And it's something we don't really know yet how to deal with it because it's kind of different people, but there is a higher demand in general, not necessarily our customers or our community, but there's a higher demand in general for social interaction in a workplace environment. That's what we feel.
So I'm just going to come to the audience now, and these points about people still needing connection. I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. Do you still feel that are we in a post-COVID? Are people back to normal in your co-working space? Raise your hand if it feels kind of normal again in terms of how people are interacting. Okay, so that's the vast majority feel like people are human beings again, less scared rabbits in the headlights. Yeah, and again, raise your hands if the experience here of more frequency of intensity of connection, less frequency, more intensity of connection between people. Is that mirrored? Not so much. Less so. I mean, from our experience, I know that people like smaller groups, but they still like groups of people, but they don't want great big groups. Yeah? Okay, let's change track again. I'm thinking, COVID came along and it disrupted everything. It's disrupted the market, it's disrupted how we've behaved with each other, how we do business, all of that lot. But people are people, and people disrupt things because they don't always put things in the dishwasher. Give me some examples of where people have broken trust within community and how you have navigated that as how does your community management structure, systems, processes, people, how do you navigate it when people make a mess, as it were, within a community? I do not mean the dishwasher, I just mean people. And who's going to share? Juicy.
I don't think I'm the right person to, answer this because there hasn't been a conflict. Me and Maria were talking about this before, and it depends on what you put into the meaning of the word. Like, of course, things happen. And we sort of, I think, landed in a conversation of, well, it's an inclusive environment. We haven't experienced any conflict and I think we look at it from a point of view, we're Swedish, maybe that has something to do with it. Don't like conflict. No, we don't argue. But I think most people come from a point of view of trying to resolve and, to talk about things and maybe don't experience that as difficult, but,
I don't know if that fits the question. We have been having not quite a few, but 2 or 3 cases of inappropriate behavior within the community. Male behavior towards female co-workers and female staff members. And we only learned about it through our staff members and then watched it more closely and found out that there's a pattern with 1 or 2 persons, not really on a broad scale, but something that led to the fact that more than a number of female co-workers and staff members didn't feel comfortable in their work environment. And we're still working on how to deal with it. So now we're working on a code of conduct that we want to, first of all, within the team, publish to also give the security to the staff members that they can address certain issues to the management, but also to the co-workers, and then want to publish it. So that's something that we're working on. But that's the first time that you really had a structural problem with with single individuals leaving a mess in the community and really having an impact on how we interpret our feeling of well-being in our co-working space.
Good luck navigating that. If anyone's got any top tips, I'm sure you'd be welcome to have a conversation about them later.
No, I think that when different opinions arise, I think we listen to the opinions, and often it gets resolved from that. People want to be listened at, and that is most often enough.
We have had a fair share of instances where there are different opinions, but most of the time it's really civilized and people would actually sort it on their own. We tried not to introduce even more friction if such a case arises, but then again, if we're asked, we're always going to moderate. And we have had a couple of instances where it's just not okay. So our filtering system didn't work and introduced some spam into the workplace. So then basically we have our ways. If you're not behaving up to standards, the code of conduct, your agreement is just terminated. So we have had a couple of instances where that was required.
That's pretty major.
Yep. But
and it's okay. So you've got a code of conduct in place for your clients.
Yep.
How do you monitor that? And more importantly, I suppose, how does any member of staff who's probably generally a nice person wanting to get along with everybody, what support do you give the member of staff who's got to tackle the big hairy subject of conflict or a problem gone on?
to be honest, I don't really have a right solution or a system that works, or a framework, or however you want to call it. It's just like crisis management. So just keep your head cool, and if you need, take your time and just go back, discuss, and we'll come back to you as soon as possible, but don't commit to something that you're not sure how to tackle. But yeah, they're far in between one another, so we're lucky on that front. But then again, those things are going to happen sooner or later. I mean, good for you guys. Probably Sweden, Canada, places like that. It's a cultural thing, but yeah, friction is always going to bring some tension. So.
Does anyone else have an experience of supporting their staff to have to deal with conflict resolution, or, inappropriate behavior within the workspace?
I have in other roles, and I think it's there's always a leader. And if you, again, try to have a conversation, but if we're talking about more serious things, I mean, if we're talking about abuse or, the serious things, not the one who forgot to empty the dishwasher for the 25th time, or someone got too drunk at a party or something. I mean, when it's the real things, then you have to sit down with the leaders, and that's from our space and their space, to say this is not okay, and you have to stand your ground, but be gentle. I mean, to be concrete. And be gentle, and don't forget to listen, because it's always something more behind. That doesn't make it okay, but it's a better conversation.
Can I just get a raise of hands in the room? Like, how many people here have had to have some serious conversations with their clients on behavioural stuff? Oh, I'd actually say that was quite high. Okay. Oh. Has anyone got a nugget from in the room for how they would deal with people being people and messing it up? Does anyone want to share something from the room? Want to be bold? Gentleman there in the pink shirt. We got a mic?
Hey, yeah, thanks. So we have a community built up to 1,200 members, and it exists for 7 years now. So I think we have a couple of thousand people walking through that. So And we had about 5 cases in which we were terminating the contract. And the first time it happened, our staff was pretty, surprised. Yeah, first time you had this sort of situation, so we had to come up with a framework, and we basically ended up with having a policy. If a couple of members complain about the same behavior situation, then our staff is, they have the power to just terminate the contract for that member, no questions asked, but in a nice and polite way, just saying that things just doesn't work out here with us. It's like a little breakup. And it's not you, it's us, sorry. So, you'll find another great space. So this is what we do.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a story that they want to share of like conflict resolution? Because it's not all happy clappy in a community. Go, Charles.
Thanks. Well, the saddest one, or the one that I found saddest that I ever had to deal with, was really early on. It was in our second building. I turned up at the building early one Sunday morning, and I found one of the members asleep on the sofa, and I figured out they were routinely sleeping there. And it was one of my favorite members as well. They ran a brilliant contemporary art gallery, but they had quite a messy life. And I just knew at that point it couldn't continue. That I just had no idea this was going on. So I had to boot them out, but I hated myself for it. It was so horrible.
That sounds like a big challenge. You know, conflict of interest on every level there. Every level. Okay. Keeping on time. So, community building is at the heart of our business. It's what we say that we're doing it for. It's not about real estate. It's not about the Wi-Fi and the coffee. It is all about the people and the ecosystems and the opportunities to connect, nurture, foster talent, foster relationships, and help people live their dreams or their nightmares, get through their nightmares and live their dreams. If you were going to give this audience of your peers one pearl of wisdom for how they ensure they keep community at the heart of their co-working business, what would you say to encourage them? How could you do that?
I think that we consider ourselves to be part of the community more than we are community managers. So we see ourselves as equal as any of the members, and that gives us room and also connection and relationships to foster it more deeply. And it's very valued by the members, I feel. Do you agree, Emil?
Yeah, I mentioned that at the beginning, but we also feel like we're part of whole this thing. So we try to help each of the companies within our space as much as we can. And that's quite a lot, basically. So we encourage them to share any problem that they have, because chances are we already have been through that, or we know someone who has been through that, or we know that we can recommend a few folks that can speak to it. So I would say it's support. I even sometimes joke that it's AA, anonymous alcoholics supporting each other, so it's a support group. But yeah, just try to foster that and keep it going, because once it rolls out, it basically lives its own life, and that's the most meaningful part, at least for myself, for what we're doing.
So what helps me is this image of knowing that your customers don't come to you, for you, because they know you, but they stay because of you. So keeping in mind that, so if you keep that in mind, I guess it makes it much easier to not ask a question, should I interact more, should I be more proactive, but really have the strong feeling of I am the community manager, and the people are not staying because I have the greatest co-working space, great location, but because of the team, because of you interacting with them.
What you said. No, but I absolutely agree. I think it's is the most important thing is the person, because the contract is signed by a business. But it's the person who's there, and they have to feel like you have to listen to them. I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but I think that's the key, to see the person. And I mean, most of the time I talk to my members about their vacation houses, how's the kids going to school because there's too much snow, and this happened and that happened. We talk about the small things, but all the small things, that's our life. And that is the same in business. And if we share this, then we can talk about the really important stuff as well, and maybe see if we can help, if we can connect them or do something. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank our speakers. We can thank our speakers. Thank our speakers. But I'd actually like to personally thank you guys, because we're in this room together as a community of co-working leaders, of co-working curators, managers, leaders, entrepreneurs. We're working in our locations, in our geographical communities or community of interest to help foster and nurture talent, make business happen, make friendships happen. In it, we're on that journey. We build our relationships and friendships. We create a sense of belonging for ourselves. But in this room together and in this conference together, we're our own community. And it's very important to carve out time in the diary to look after ourselves on this journey that we're in, because it's a very hard journey, making and sustaining a business and supporting, whether it's 50 people or 500 people. It's a very hard journey. So it's important to take time out of your year to come and be part of a bigger community, the one that you're involved in Co-working Europe or your national associations. Please, please, please take time to be part of the co-working community that you belong to, on the international and national sense, as well as in your geographical area. So I'd just like to we will thank the other community managers and builders out there doing your good things in the community. Thank you.